Have you ever wondered which Formula One team has the most efficient academy for finding F1 talent? Let's find out. Although the idea of nurturing young drivers has been going on for decades, Formula One took a step up in professionalism in the 21st century. Almost all constructors now have their own academies designed to find the next Max Verstappen or Lewis Hamilton. Of course, that is easier said than done, so here are all 9 current teams, excluding AlphaTauri, ranked by the percentage of their academy alumni to make it into Formula One. It should be noted that a driver is counted for a team regardless of how long they were a part of the academy, and a driver such as Zhou Guanyu can also be included in multiple teams' tallies. First up is Haas. Haas are currently the only outfit on the grid not to have a junior academy, but they do give young Ferrari blood a chance. Charles Leclerc is the most notable example of this, having tested for Haas during 2016. Even though Haas has no official young driver program, it has looked after youngsters such as Pietro Fittipaldi, Louis Delatraz and Santino Ferrucci in the past. Next, we have AMF1 Driver Development Program. The AMF1 program has seen one driver pass through its ranks, yet that driver has not progressed to Formula One. Consequently, the statistics show very little at the moment for the AMF1 program. In defense of Aston Martin, this is the newest academy on the grid, having only been established in 2022, and as of now, Felipe Drugovich is the sole member of it. He joined in 2022 after winning the F2 world title, but has so far had to bide his time behind Lance Stroll and Fernando Alonso in his quest for a full-time seat. It was something of an anomaly that Drugovich wasn't affiliated to an F1 team, as he crushed the opposition, including a galaxy of F1 juniors, on his way to the 2022 Formula 2 title. While Drugovich doesn't have a race program this season, he has notched up testing mileage with Aston Martin in F1 and has also been extremely rapid in Formula E outings with Maserati. The creation of the program is something that we would have hoped for from Aston Martin boss Lawrence Stroll, who was highly influential in respective Ferrari and Williams equivalents when son Lance was rising through the ranks. It's nice to have a dad like Lawrence Stroll. Next up is Salber Academy. The Salber Academy has nurtured a total of 27 drivers within its program. However, none of these drivers have successfully progressed to compete in Formula One, resulting in a 0% of graduates making it to the pinnacle of motorsport. The Salber Academy is one of the newer ones on the grid, having been formed in 2019 in collaboration with the Czech team Charus Racing System. However, the number of drivers to make it to Formula One could change in the next few years, with Theo Pourchaire knocking on the door on the back of his F2 title win in 2023. The Frenchman has been on the books since his F4 days and is now in his 3rd season of Formula 2 with ART Grand Prix. Pourchaire lost out in his title fight with Felipe Drugovich in 2022 and was heavily linked with a move to Japan to race in Super Formula this year, but was drawn back to F2 and is now battling with Frederick Vesti. We follow Salber with the Red Bull Junior team. The Red Bull Junior team boasts a roster of 93 drivers who have been part of its program. Impressively, 18.28% of these drivers have successfully ascended to compete in Formula One, a notable achievement for the program. Within this group, 5.38% have triumphed in an F1 race. Furthermore, 2.15% of drivers associated with the Red Bull Junior program have clinched the prestigious Formula One World Championship title. Now, this may come as quite the surprise, but the reason why Red Bull's percentage is so low is because they have had more drivers on their books than anyone else. Red Bull's junior program actually started before the team even existed, with the academy being set up in 2001. Initially, it was to help young drivers into F1, but now with 2 teams in place, the goal is clear: find the next big talent for their own benefit. And on that front, they have been very successful. 50% of the last 4 world champions have come through the Red Bull Academy, and it has developed generational talents such as Sebastian Vettel and Max Verstappen, plus Grand Prix race winners in Daniel Ricciardo, Carlos Sainz and Pierre Gasly. They have also had the most drivers to go on to get Formula One seats with a total of 17, and even though their percentage may be low, there is a good argument that Red Bull now has the finest young driver academy. Alex Albon, Yuki Tsunoda and other graduates on the 2023 Formula grid, while further alumni include Formula E champions Jean-Eric Vergne and Sebastian Buemi, World Endurance and Le Mans conqueror Brendan Hartley, plus Daniel Kvyat. Currently, young drivers include, with some recognisable surnames, Liam Lawson, Enzo Fittipaldi, Jack Crawford, Isaac Hadjar and Sebastian Montoya. Next up, we have the Ferrari Driver Academy. The Ferrari Academy has fostered 26 drivers within its program, with an impressive 23.08% of them successfully advancing to compete in Formula One, showing the Academy's effectiveness in nurturing top-tier talent. Among these graduates, 7.69% have clinched victories in Formula One races. However, despite this success, none of the drivers associated with the Ferrari Driver Academy have secured an F1 World Championship title to date. I think they're due one. Despite being in the sport since 1950, Ferrari's Academy is much younger, having been set up in 2009. Of those to have been through it, Charles Leclerc is the lead candidate, but Sergio Perez as well as Lance Stroll were members at one point. 23% of their Academy products have gone on to compete in Formula One, while 7.69% have won a race in Leclerc and Perez. They are still waiting for their homegrown title win, so can Leclerc be the one to do it? Ferrari might have a lot of work for that. The Ferrari Driver Academy was quite top-heavy a couple of years ago, in the same way that the Red Bull Junior team is now. Since then, Mick Schumacher has gone his own way with Mercedes, Antonio Giovinazzi is now a Le Mans 24 Hours winner with the Prancing Horse, Callum Ilott and Marcus Armstrong are in IndyCar, and Robert Schwartzman is competing in GT Ferrari machinery. Essex talent Ollie Beerman only joined the Maranello Junior program for 2022 following a double title-winning season in F4, and very nearly claimed the F3 crown at his first attempt with Prema. This hastened his graduation to F2 at the tender age of just 17. He's remained with Prema and understandably perhaps needs to find a little bit more consistency, but you can't argue with a talent good enough to do the double on the challenging street circuit of Baku. We now have the Alpine Academy. The Alpine Academy has supported 56 drivers within its program, with a commendable 25% of these drivers successfully progressing to compete in Formula One. Among these graduates, 5.36% have celebrated victories in F1 races, showcasing the caliber of drivers developed through the Academy. However, as of now, none of the drivers associated with the Alpine Academy have secured an F1 title. Not much of a surprise. The lifespan of the Alpine Academy pretty much spans that of the Red Bull team. It's just that it's gone through numerous name changes of identity, as well as a hiatus in the early 2010s to reflect the parent Enstone-based F1 team. It started life as the RF1 driver program, becoming Renault Driver Development and Renault Sport Academy. But when the team was bought by Lotus, it turned into the LRGP Academy and then the Lotus F1 Team iRace Professional program, followed by Lotus F1 Junior Team. There's some mouthfuls there. After Lotus's messy departure, it returned to Renault, and following the team's rebrand, it became the Alpine Academy. Despite its longevity, it was yet to produce a genuine superstar, with just 3 drivers having won a race. Oscar Piastri looks likely to add to that number, but of course he is doing so in the papaya of a McLaren. In its initial form, the drivers were competing in Renault's single-seater championships or in F3 teams to which the manufacturer supplied the engines. These talents included Robert Kubica, Heikki Kovalainen and Jose Maria Lopez. Romain Grosjean was another one to enjoy patronage as an F1 junior. After Renault returned to F1, youngsters on its books included Oliver Rowland, Jack Aitken and the late Antoine Hubert. Alpine's protégés include Zhou Guanyu, now racing at the peak of the sport with Alfa Romeo, and Oscar Piastri, who controversially broke away from Alpine to join McLaren. Alongside them was Christian Lundgaard, who has just taken his maiden IndyCar race victory. Good for him. Moving into the top half of the academies now with the Mercedes Junior team. The Mercedes Junior team has nurtured 11 drivers within its program, with an impressive 27.27% of them successfully progressing to compete in Formula One. Amongst these graduates, 9.09% have clinched victories in Formula One races. However, no graduate has secured an F1 championship title. In contrast to Red Bull equivalent, the Mercedes Junior program is far more selective. In keeping with its prime guiding hand, Gwenel Lagrue, the Frenchman who formerly ran the Lotus Junior Gravity Talent Scheme, it is far more subtle, and its protégés bear little overt branding from the 3-pointed star on their car liveries. Its turnover is also considerably lower. Of the 6 drivers who were part of the Mercedes Junior program in 2021, 4 of them still belong, and the other 2, George Russell and Esteban Ocon, are fully fledged Grand Prix winners. Mercedes started their own drivers program 4 years after their return to the sport, and one of their most famous alumni is George Russell, who sent Toto Wolff an email asking for a place. That's bold. A year and a half later, and he was in there as their simulator driver before moving to Mercedes at the start of 2022. Ocon was discovered by Lagrue when he was in charge of the Gravity scheme, and he and Russell were among the first drivers he snapped up to join Mercedes. The duo being signed as the incumbent, Pascal Wehrlein joined also. Ocon, of course, beat Max Verstappen to the 2014 European F3 title with the Italian junior single-seater giant Prema, so it's little surprise that the three Mercedes juniors currently competing in cars are all with this squad. Okay, you ready for number 2? At number 2 is the McLaren Driver Development Program. The McLaren program has overseen 25 drivers within its program, with an admirable 28% of them successfully making it into Formula 1. Among these graduates, 4% have achieved victories in Formula 1 races, and additionally, 4% of drivers associated with the McLaren Driver Development Program have clinched an F1 World Championship title. The oldest academy on the current grid can also claim to have produced some of its finest drivers. Lewis Hamilton is, of course, the standout, having joined in 1998 before winning the world title 9 years later, but Lando Norris also looks like a potential world champion. We can only hope. Of the current young drivers with McLaren, there are few to choose from. As of the 2021 and 2023 IndyCar champion, Spaniard Alex Palou is hardly regular F1 apprentice fodder. The same goes for Mexican Pato O'Ward, a race winner in IndyCar with the Arrow McLaren squad, who in all likelihood will be partnered next year by Palou on his anticipated jump from Chip Ganassi Racing. In saying that, Palou's ongoing court case may see him leave the McLaren system altogether. Lando Norris, Alex Albon, Kevin Magnussen and Stoffel Vandoorne have also represented McLaren in the junior ranks, as well as Nick De Vries and reigning IMSA champion Tom Blomqvist. Of the 25 drivers to have been a part of it, 7 have made it to F1, but it is only Hamilton who has won a title. Will Lando Norris change that in 2024? Okay, you ready for this? Finally, at the top of the list as the most efficient Formula 1 academy, we have the Williams Driver Academy. Within the Williams Driver Academy, 25 drivers have been a part of the program, with a notable 28% successfully progressing to Formula 1. Among these graduates, 4% have clinched titles in Formula 1 races, reflecting the calibre of the drivers developed through the Academy's training. Now, impressively, 4% of drivers associated with the Williams Driver Academy have secured an F1 Championship title. In terms of drivers nurtured into F1, Williams just pipped their long-term rivals McLaren by 0.57%. The Williams Driver Academy is a relatively recent entity, although the team historically took young talent under its wing and gave them F1 testing programs before hoisting them into the F1 squad. Damon Hill, David Coulthard and Valtteri Bottas are 3 examples, so effectively Williams had a junior F1 team in all but name. Since it was formalised, the Williams Young Driver stable has featured Lance Stroll, Nicholas Latifi, Jack Aitken and Red Bull refugee Dan Ticktum. For now, the Williams Blue has flooded the F3 grid with no fewer than 4 drivers carrying the colour of their machinery. And that's our review of the Formula 1 academies. Which academy has done the best in your opinion? Which academy has under or overperformed so far? Which drivers do you expect to make the jump to F1 in the coming years? Let us know what you think in the comments, and remember to like, comment, share and subscribe. Keep the pedal to the metal, and I'll catch you in the next video.